I'm outside now, and let's carve a little miniature squirrel. He's going to be much like the carvings that we started off with, and I cut him out. I just took a pattern off the internet, and we're going to carve a little squirrel. Now, I have a big squirrel that I carved years ago on the internet, on my videos, but this is a little tiny squirrel. He's only about 2 inches high. But this would add to our collection of miniature pieces that we're doing, and it's carved out of 3/4 inch basswood. So this is 3/4 inch thick. So the first thing we want to do, he's cut out, is go ahead and just come down here and come down here, and this will be our tail right here. So I think that would be the first thing we would start to work on in just a minute. Is our tail. Now you can put a center line. You can draw a center line to make sure that we can do that right now. Just kind of give you an idea of, we're out here, we got all the cars running, and it's a noisy neighborhood. I tell you what, it's one noisy neighborhood. And you can go ahead and draw a center line down the tail if you want to, just sort of give you an idea on each side how much we should bring it down. But what we want to do is just go ahead and round this tail off. This is not a difficult carving. It's a very easy carving. It's just part of shaping is what we do. The wind's blowing, and I wish I was more like Doug out in a place like Canada in the woods and stuff, but I'm not there. I'm in the city, and that's my bad, as they say. I don't think I've ever used that word before, but I guess it would be a quaint word to use. It'd be my bad that I'm not. I wish I was living. We just sort of bring that into that tail like that. We just begin to shape this tail. Because a tail on a squirrel, and we're not looking for extreme realism here, but the tail on the squirrel is pretty bushy, so we'll bring it down some, but we won't, we want it to have that big look and that bushy look that we have. And we just want to go around it. Okay. Just want to kind of come in here. I tell you what, for a city, these cities are very, very noisy. I wish I lived in a place where it didn't have all this noise. As I get older, that noise bothers me. But as most of you know, I'm struggling with my house and with everything else. Okay, I think we're getting that tail down pretty good. See that? We can do a little bit more. See that? So that's looking pretty good. Now let's go ahead and come back here. Let's do these back legs. Now we're not going to separate the legs. We're just going to do like the other ones. We're going to just leave them one piece as we do. We might come down here and separate them just a little bit. Bring that down just a little bit, and then we want to do the same thing like we normally do, just to give a little line. We want to cut these little indentions in here to give it kind of a look. There we go. Cut these. It's just they're not big indentions. They're just small, and that helps us kind of shape this area in here. Well, be careful because you're around these legs, and these legs are kind of well, they're a bit flimsy, one might say. And we kind of come back here and shape our back a little bit. Okay. I come here. A little cut right in there kind of gives that look. See how it kind of separates that from in there. Gives it that look. These little cuts that you make, they just help a lot in making a little, because you have a lot of all that kind of stuff due to the saw marks from the. I'm not using a. You can get a scroll saw blade for your because when you're cutting out 3/4 and something, you can use a scroll saw blade for your bandsaw. But I don't have one right now, and I just cut out a 1/4 inch. Is about the size that I use on my bandsaw. So there we go. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and come up here to where the ears are, and we want to separate those ears. Okay, so let's be very careful. Let's go ahead and cut down, and then cut like this. In other words, cut. Just want to cut like that. See? All right. Now a squirrel's head just sort of comes forward, is what it does. It just sort of doesn't actually come to a point, but it comes similar to a point in a way. So we're going to come over here, and we're just going to, well, be careful. You just want to come forward with this right here, okay? And then come forward with this over here. We're just kind of cutting that. See that? And we come forward here. And we come forward there. Okay? That's why we don't want to cut too much off the ears in here, because we may have to take some off on the sides. You cut too much and come over too far, then if you have to take some off on the sides, which we're probably going to have to do, then it's going to you know, you're going to have problems. So let's just keep bringing that forward. And then let's just kind of do this number. And we want to come in here, underneath here. And we want to make a cut like that, okay? See what that does? And we want to come in here. And we want to make a cut just like that. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and just, let's go ahead and just sort of do like this. You want to watch your grain here. May have to come up this way. Yeah. Want to watch your grain and all that stuff as you do that. And let's go ahead and cut in here, okay? Cut that away. And do the same here. So we can bring that head in just a little bit. See that? Just like that. So we get that squirrel kind of. We'll make another deep cut. And we're going to make another deep cut. Okay, just like that. Now that way we can just kind of come up here and cut these ears back. So cut these ears up here like this. There we go, see? And kind of smooth that face forward. Okay? And we can come even a little bit more forward with that. We want to be careful, okay? And a little bit more forward this way. See how that looks? And then we want to kind of come in here. We want to cut down and be real careful. We don't want, you want to do that very lightly. You don't want to cut those ears off, okay? So you just have to kind of, there we go. See, like that? Just dragging that knife along there. Okay. Let's come in here like that. Be very careful. Like I said, when you do this, you just want to be careful not to try to take too much off toward the head here. See what we're doing? See that? Let's come back with this a little bit more. Cut it. Come back here just a little bit more. Cut it. There we go. And then let's just sort of bring these ears in a little bit more. As we see, bring them back here and bring them down in here. Well, it kind of changed grain here, so you want to come up this way. There we go. That's what I'm saying. Watch your knife and watch your grain as you do this, because it is important. There we go. See? Just like that. Okay. Now we want to cut in there. You want to do that again. See from the side here, you've got it kind of, we're going to come up underneath here and clean that up also. Be careful. You don't want to take a lot off at these times. These are very, very just like that, see? Now, let's go ahead and come up here, clean this off a little bit. Come up here, clean that off. Now we want to come in here, we want to, let me draw. So we want to be careful. We're going to just draw a little, and we're going to separate we're not going to separate the whole leg. We're just going to separate the paws in here, or the feet of the squirrel, just like that. Okay. And we want to go ahead and make our little cuts in here, okay? Okay, we want to come here. We want to make our little cuts in there. Okay. Okay. See that? If we want to, we can just kind of separate them just a little bit. There we go, just like that. Okay. So we want to make very small cuts. There we go. And we'll do the same to this back leg. Let's go down the middle of it. Let me clean this up just a little bit, just before we start all that, okay? Let me clean this up back here a little bit. There we go. And this one already has a little bit of a ring to it, but we'll just go ahead and put a little thing in there. See, it already has a, so that's, and let's go ahead and cut in the middle here. And just take that out. Okay, it's like that, see? It's all we need. We don't need any more than that, in other words, to go on. When you're dealing with this small of a figure, you want to be very, very careful not to go too deep or to try to take too much off at one time. You want to, and we kind of just hit the legs like this. Hit the, go ahead. We can go ahead and bring up. We can go ahead and bring up the back of the leg a little bit. We don't have to do it too much, but it's just a little. Okay. All right. I want to bring this even down a little bit more. And we want to hit those ears. we want to just kind of be careful, but we just kind of make that little tight in there. Same thing here. Make the little cut in there. That's a very, very light spot in there, so we want to be very careful we don't go too far. See, up in here, and I just want to bring kind of, let's do those ears just a little bit on the top. Just bring them around. There we go. Okay, just like that. Here we go. Now, kind of get that in there. Get that in there. Okay, now we're around it all. Here's the little nose up here. We can paint the nose onto him, in other words. And let's just kind of take our knife and just sort of flip it along in here to kind of give this little design. Okay, just a little cut like that, and cut up in here, kind of join that to it so it doesn't go. All right. Yeah, you have to be very, very careful with a small piece like this, because when they're that small, you can really. Okay, now let's just, I'm gonna just go ahead and take a little eye and cut it in there. I'm just gonna cut a little eye in here. There we go. See that? And we'll come over here. I cut a little eye in there. See that? Okay. See the little eye?